It was 2 in the night. My husband was sleeping comfortably next to me. And also our 5-year son. It was raining very hard outside. The weather was very bad today. I wanted to spend the night. But I was far from sleep. The reason for this was not the torrential rain but the storm. Who came into my life almost 6 years ago today. I reached this place lying down. That is, when I was 22 years old. My name is Sheba. Life was beautiful. Father was a government teacher. We are 2 sisters. Our life was going well. I had completed my studies. But Faiza was going to college. I used to help mother in the housework. Mother was gone in the neighborhood. It was time for Faiza to come from college. I was busy cooking in the kitchen. I was worried. Because Faiza was late from college today. There was a knock. I opened the door and there was a handsome young man standing in front. He took off his glasses, his eyes were black. I don't know what was in his black eyes, which was pulling me towards him in an instant. I don't know what kind of emotion it was that felt like this to both of us strangers in a moment. Like we both know each other for centuries. His expensive car was parked. "Hi," he said. His voice was very beautiful and charming. Just like his personality. When he spoke, I came to my senses. And the next moment I was angry with myself. I can't believe it's me. I was ashamed of myself to find myself attracted to a man. Actually, Faiza's foot slipped while leaving the college. And due to the fall, her leg was injured. The boy helped her and brought her home. I was very grateful to the boy. I did not think it proper to invite the boy inside the house. Because my mother was not at home. But Faiza forced him inside. But quickly I went and called my mother. Mother was very grateful to him. He looked decent and he was. In the presence of this boy, I was feeling very insecure. Because he was talking to Faiza. But his eyes were on me. As I looked at him. So he would turn red with shame and look away. Maybe it was not all under the boy's control. The same attraction was pulling him towards me. But his modesty pleased my heart. In a moment, I became that stranger. I was blushing too. "Son, what is your father's name?" Mother had asked, carefully looking at his face. "Ali." "But why, auntie?" Mother's face immediately lit up with joy at his reply. "Are you the son of Sophia?" "Yes, auntie." "Son, when you were little, we used to be neighbors. Your father had a good friendship with my husband," he said happily. As if his way to reach me was smooth. He sat for a few moments. Then he left. That night was different from all nights in 22 years. The night that took my life in a new direction. My heart was very troubled. But I wanted to ignore it. Which I could not do. In a few days, he started to rule my heart. I just fell for that boy. The same was the case with him. His father and my father turned out to be acquaintances. Perhaps it was fate that brought us both together. Father had invited them for dinner. When he and his sister also came, he had a smile on his face. After finishing the food, etc., I was preparing the tea by wrapping the pot. That I suddenly felt their presence. He said, "A glass of water will be available." I was surprised to see him here. After drinking water, he said, "I like you very much. Ever since I saw you, I have only become yours. This is a humble gift from me. If you like me too, get wear and come out. If you wear it, I will also understand your will. After saying this, he left the ring there. My heart was pounding. I did what my heart told me to do. I made this gift of Irfan's love a part of my existence, and took the tea and went to the guests. Irfan looked very worried. But as soon as he saw the confession of his love on my finger, he jumped with joy. He looked carefully at my face for the first time. Both of us had happy smiles on our lips. How happy I was in those days. Then uncle invited us for dinner one night. I was well prepared that day. When we reached his house that day, my eyes were constantly searching for Irfan. But he did not appear. Suddenly I bumped into a strong young man. Couldn't help myself. He took over. It was my fault too. But a man's hand touched my waist. I started getting angry. Abused that boy. After being angry for a long time, when I saw the boy's face, he had a smile on his face, and he was listening to me with folded hands. I was embarrassed. I walked. He was very handsome. Big eyes. He had a sense of humor. But I didn't like it. Then after that the boy didn't show me again. Irfan was out of town that day. I was sad. A few days later, Irfan's mother and sister came. That night mother told me that Ali uncle and his wife want to make you their daughter-in-law. We like this guy, don't you mind? What could I object to? I swooned happily. I said, as you see fit. Having said this, I left there. Today those people came to perform the ritual. Irfan was also there. Life started shining on my face. Irfan's mother put a ring on my finger, due to which that ring was removed from my hand, which I was already wearing on my finger, which was a sign of Irfan's true love. I couldn't understand why I felt so bad about taking the ring off. Then I was given a ring. I looked at Irfan's face, but he stood expressionless. The next moment it broke on me. When my mother-in-law said, from today you are the of my son Shani. Actually the guy I bumped into that day. He is their second son. Irfan's younger brother was Shani. He fell in love with me the first time he saw me. And then this ritual was performed on his request. Irfan remained silent in his brother's love. I was completely broken. I did not understand what to do. Irfan told him to keep quiet with eye signals. Yes. I understood that my refusal would be useless. Whether I stand for love and truth, so that love will refuse to embrace me. My happiness was spoiled. I became a lifeless statue. Irfan never came to our house after my engagement to Shani. Shani's cousin was married. We were also invited. There was a lot of chaos in the house. I was sitting in their lawn. It was very cold. But I didn't care. Suddenly, someone put a warm jacket on me from behind. I looked back in shock. He was Shani. Seeing his face, I was getting angry. I woke up angry. So he grabbed my wrist. I wanted to climb. I said, leave me. He held me close to him. Shani brought me to his spacious chest. His face was very close to mine. We were both looking into each other's eyes. I could even feel his breath on my face. For a moment, I liked it. His bluntness made me cringe inside. Irfan was not like that at all. But it was only a moment. I wanted to throw myself out of his arms in anger and disgust. But his grip was too strong. I became helpless. He was looking at me continuously. "Leave me alone," I said angrily. Shani said, "Don't wait any longer. Come soon and be my bride. It is my great desire to have you as my bride." I saw Shani smiling happily. Then he released me from his grip. I was not feeling well. I bad-mouthed Shani. But he kept smiling. I left there. But the fragrance of his existence was still in my heart. No one has ever been so close to me. He was the first person. Days passed by. Shani was never tired of returning love. And I never tire of humiliating him. The poor guy didn't even know why. He answered my every rudeness very gently and lovingly. I was in a lot of pain during those days. All the wrath of fate will descend on me. 6 months passed like this. Now the date of our marriage was fixed. Shani was mad with joy. In those days I became a living corpse. Irfan for me forever. It had to be seen from my brother's point of view. I used to pray a lot. There should be a way to unite me and Irfan. Time was starting. And I became Shani's bride. The procession left with great fanfare. It was a wonderful procession. Shani made me a bride willingly. That night was full of his dreams. His face was shining like the moon. The smile never left Shani's face. Finally we got married. Now I was completely in awe. Only Shani was entitled to me now. I was crying tears of blood from my helplessness. I made up my mind. I still won't replace Irfan with Shani. I started hating Shani at that point. I decided to burn myself in the fire of his hatred for a lifetime. I wore a wedding dress. I was sitting on Shani's couch. Soon the door opened. And my mother-in-law entered the room. She said, "Listen. Shani's car has met with an accident. He is very injured. But he refused to go to the hospital like the children. We tried our best. But he did not believe at all. Speaks. As everything was happening. That's how it should be. So you should be very careful. And somehow prepare him for the hospital. For now, we stand by his word. And he is conscious. There is no risk. Do not worry." Saying this she left. But the more I heard, the more I shuddered. After some time the door of the room opened again. Shani had entered. There were wounds all over his body. And the blood was flowing. Shani's clothes. It was red with blood. The injuries were not minor. I was very worried. But did not show. And sat helpless. Shani came closer and sat down. The face was red with pain. 2 of his ribs were also broken. But I was unaware of it. Did my wife not have patience? Self-exposed. Shani said with a deep smile as always. "I am not your wife. Keep this in mind," I said angrily. He laughed as usual. "I have married you, madam." He carefully examined my face and spoke to me in a telling manner. I looked up at Shani. So it was felt that Shani was in a lot of pain. I said, "You relax. Talking too much is not good for you. At this point you should lie down. I spoke softly to Shani for the first time in my life. At which Shani looked at me with mixed feelings of surprise and happiness. And then he smiled and sat leaning on the bed. He closed his eyes in pain. But my loving behavior had a glow on his face. I woke up and made Shani sit well. Today I was realizing, how much does he love me? My heart softened. Or was it the power of marriage? I sat silent. He had been admiring my beauty for a long time. Then expressed his love to me. The hair on my face was removed from my face very lovingly. My eyes suddenly fell on the bed sheet. So the bed sheet was full of blood. Shani, what are you doing childishly? You should go to the hospital now, I said angrily. Shani just kept smiling at me. You will hug once. Shani spread his arms in love. That was the moment when all love is gone. The sanctity of marriage proved strong. In a moment I agreed to accept this kind man as my life partner. It felt like that. Only my husband has the right to my love. Someone else's idea. Nothing but sin. On this I forgot my past. I surrendered myself forever to Shani. And cried and hugged Shani's chest. You are as crazy as children. Did I run away somewhere? Even in this situation you. He put his finger on my lips. You don't know. What does this moment mean to me? For the time being. How long did I wait? Remember. I told you. That is my desire. To see you as my bride. So who will let these moments go? His eyes became moist as he said this. I wish you were mine. For the first time, I saw tears and despair in Shani's eyes. I wanted to tell Shani that I am yours, but could not say. Shani put a bracelet on me, then took my hand in his hands. He closed his eyes and lay down peacefully. Shani, don't talk too much. You relax, I said. But there was no response from the other side. Shani, I cried loudly. My hands began to swell when I did not get an answer. Shani. Now I shake him completely. So his neck hung to one side. Doomsday dawned on me. I screamed. The family also came to the room after hearing my screams. And then somehow mourned the house. I rapped in Shani's chest. But today he didn't catch me with his naughty. My own words echoed in my ears. I am not your wife. And Allah. Such a punishment of my words. Really. Now I from Shani's wife. Widow had been Shani's. After Shani, the family married me to Irfan, which I dreamed of marriage. My heart was not ready to marry Irfan. After Shani left, I loved his words, which he always used to tell me. I was repeatedly unconscious. The condition was very bad. It seemed as if Shani would just come. Heart was not ready to believe his death. I always wanted to make myself a widow. But on the family's coercion, I will be married to Irfan. Irfan gave me a new life with his love. Otherwise I die with Shani. I wanted to make a way to get me and Irfan. But this prayer will be complete. I didn't think. I was suspected. Like I'm responsible for his death. But then one day that proved to be a doubt correct. When our driver had detailed talk about it was told. When procession was returning, Then Shani sent me and father into another car. Then after a while his car crashed. Driver's conversation made me upset. Likewise Shani did deliberately. But why? He was very happy. And soon I got the answer to my question. When Irfan told me, Shani came to visit me after your marriage and were complaining to me. Shani had heard me and your words. And he knew the truth. Then Shani cried a lot of hugs. Repeatedly he started blames himself for both of us. But when I explained he understood. Because the marriage was. There was no way now. I didn't know that. This was the reason behind his silence. Today, 6 years have passed from this world. But he is still fresh in my mind today. I still miss him today. I couldn't understand this. Was the love that happened to me at first glance? Or it was love that after marriage I felt for Shani.